Hey guys, Stealth here. Welcome to a new game for this channel, or at least I hope so. This is Escape from Tarkov. Now, I had never heard about this game until about 2 days ago when one of my subscribers actually gifted a buy-in package to me. Because this thing is in closed beta, as you can see at the top of the screen, beta testing. It's for testing purposes. It's a paid beta, so you can only get in if you buy in. And here's the basic premise of the game. It's Arma 3 meets Battlegrounds. That's pretty much the long and short of it. It has some very high-end sim elements that you would only expect in an FPS like Arma 3 or any of the Arma series. And yet, at the same time, it reminds me a little bit about Battlegrounds, where you have to survive as long as possible while you're looting. Now, Tarkov does that a little bit different. Tarkov is actually a format where you have two different parties. You have, once you start up, you have the PMC. This is basically a mercenary. Or you can use a scavenger. Now, let's start with the scavengers. The backstory of this game is that I'm thinking it's more or less based on the Ukraine situation, where maybe some PMCs were operating, so private military companies. They were operating and had to pull out. That's the backstory. There's a whole war going on, civil war, potentially invasion. You have to survive. And your PMC has pretty much abandoned you. The Scavs, on the other hand, are the locals. They are not there to get out, they are just there to scavenge. Now, the scavengers come with some interesting perks. They get basically a free weapon right from the get-go. The moment you load into a map or into a mission, or depending on how you want to call the game mode, you get a kit, you get a gear. This gear is different every time. So you can start out with an AK, you can start out with a pistol, you can start with a shotgun, whatever happens. There are other scavs on the map, and these scavs can be AI driven, and trust me, the AI in this game is no joke. They are tough. They will try to flank you, they will work together, they will judge your location based on the noise that you make and really come for you. Anyway, if you're playing a scav, you start out with a basic kit and you can loot the map, but you cannot get out. Your goal is not to get out, your goal is to survive, as if you were a local. You're not there trying to leave the area, you're trying to stay alive in your local area. The downside is that you can get no XP. Now, that's where an RPG element comes in. You have, well, not really a tech tree, but a skill tree. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Anyway, the PMC, that's the other side that you can pick. You go into a raid, as the game calls it, and your only objective is to loot as much stuff as you can and survive and then extract. There are, on most maps, several extraction points, and some maps just one. You need to fight your way, or just try to sneak your way towards the extraction point in order to survive. And if you survive, you bring out everything that you looted. The downside here is if you die, then everything you brought with you into the raid has a very good chance of not coming home, unless you have it insured and it is not looted by anybody else. I'm going to cover that insurance a little later. Don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you insurance or anything. Now, let's go back to the other map, or the other menu. We have the character here. This is my character currently. You can see we have a headset, goggles, a helmet, body armor. I have a weapon currently on my sling. I can have another weapon on my back. I have a holster for a pistol, and I have a scabbard for an additional utility item. Then I have a tactical rig, and you can get all sorts of rigs for whatever you like. So you can have a rig, you can store some ammo in there. I have some pockets. I do not carry a backpack at the moment, because the backpacks that I was carrying, that I started out with, I got killed when I was carrying them, so my backpacks are gone, but I can buy new ones. And then I have what's called a gamma container. Now, this is something that whatever happens to you, whatever's in here survives. So if I were to say, okay, I want to absolutely bring, let's say, this scope home from a mission, and I have it in one of my pockets from my tactical rig, I just put it in there, and even if I die, this thing will still come home. While my weapon, my tactical rig, my scabbard, everything like that won't. So this pouch, this gamma container, is very, very important. Now, you can get quite a few different weapons, and I have not unlocked all of them, for sale that is. I cannot buy all of them yet. But let me show you what you can do with these weapons, because this is where the more gun-happy people, in the sense of realism, are going to get a small game orgasm. Because you can adjust absolutely everything about this weapon. Right now, on this MPX, I'm having a scope, but you can have different scopes on there. You can have something on the rail on the front of the weapon. You can have a silencer if you want to. You can say, well, you know what, I don't like this front sight, I'm going to take it off. There are side rails. I believe that this one does come with a bottom rail, so you can have a tactical flashlight, you can have, for example, a laser designator. Anything that you like can be mounted on a weapon, provided that it has these adjustment slots. You can also have different parts for what they call the vital parts of the weapon. Now I cannot do that because this weapon is currently in my hands, and if you unequip it, then you can adjust these. So you can change the barrel, you can change the handguard, the receiver, the bolt, the pistol grip. All of these things can be found on maps, and all of these things can be adjusted, so you have your very, very own customized weapon. As far as I can remember, from other games that is, this is the most advanced customization system that I have ever seen. The only other game that comes to mind remotely would be the Ghost Recon series, where you could also have a lot of customization for your weapons. But not as much as this. Anyway, once you're happy with your loadout, you can join a mission as a scav, so as a scavenger, or as a merc, or a PMC. Of course, the risk is that you lose your weapons. Now that's not something that I'm very happy with, and especially this one. This one, the MPX, I have fully kitted out. I'm still testing this thing, and the problem is I only have one spare magazine for it. Now, talking of magazines, normally you just buy ammo from a vendor and you're done with it. That's generally how it goes in other missions or other games. Not so much in Escape from Tarkov, because this one has quite a few sim elements. I can only use bullets that I buy from vendors if I have a magazine that accepts those bullets and if my weapon accepts that magazine. Currently, for the MPX, I only have one additional magazine. That's it. And well, so far I have not found a second type of, or a second magazine of this type with the vendors. I'm probably not high enough in skill level yet. So I cannot buy them. But for example, for the MP5 that I have over here, I can actually use that one. And of course, you can adjust that thing as you see fit. There are a few less modifications for this one available, but still you have some mods here and there. And do note that not everything is compatible with each other. The scopes that you saw with the other weapon here, or with the MPX, are not actually available for the MP5. So not everything that you pick up would be useful, and that's when you can sell those things off. Anyway, right now I'm only carrying 30 rounds. I want to have an additional mag on this mission, so let's say I want to have another MP5 magazine. 60 rounds I found is generally enough, because you're most of the time on a map with about 8 other players playing PMCs, a couple of scavs, and if you need additional ammo you can always pick up one of their weapons, provided you survive long enough. Now here's the interesting bit. What you see here in my stash is an MP5 30 round magazine, but check the 26 out of 30. This means that I have 26 rounds here out of the 30 rounds that I actually have available, or that I have capacity for. So I need a few more rounds if I want to bring a full magazine. Now this one accepts 9mm by 19s, so I need to find those in my inventory. And you can basically drag them into the mag, and that's when the mag loads. You can also say, well, I don't like this specific set of ammo, I want to unload it, and for example now, this would be very unwise, I'm bringing an empty magazine. That would not be very handy because you can, as far as I know currently, not load them during missions. Or raids actually. So let's not bring a magazine like that. The beauty of this is that you can have, let's say, a magazine loaded alternatively with standard rounds and tracers. So you can see where your bullets are going, or you can have a few tracer rounds. Sorry, you can have a few tracer rounds by the time that your mag runs out. So you can customize this as much as you want. Now, on to the next elements, because there are quite a few here in this menu. You have health. Every section of your character has a health bar. So your left leg, right leg, stomach, arm, etc. Every part of you that gets damaged, for lack of a better term, if you get injured, then you're going to start to notice that really quickly. You're going to start to notice that if your left leg is no longer working, because you have caught a few rounds, then you're going to start to struggle to run, if you can still run, and you're just, well, plodding along, hoping for the best. Same for your arms. If they get shut out underneath you, then aiming is going to be significantly more difficult. Some other stats that you can see here. This is the NBC logo, nuclear, biological, or chemical. Or actually, sorry, I think that this is the biological chemical. I just haven't had these things happen yet, and this is nuclear. Energy. This is how much water you have. Currently, when you're in a menu like this, in a gear menu, you're fine. But once you're on a mission, you can get dehydrated if you're sprinting around a lot. And that is gonna, again, cause differences in performance. And then, of course, we have your heart rate, 120/80 currently. But the moment that, for example, you're bleeding out, this can go either way. If you're running a lot, this can go up, which can impact your aim, because a high heart rate is not going to be too effective at aiming. Now, if stuff like this does not interest you, then this is not your game. Because this is one of the most important elements in trying to stay alive and trying to keep effective. So make sure that this is something that interests you before you make the decision to go into this game. Next, skills. This is not something I'm very clear on just yet. Because you get, well, not random skill increases, but for example, the health tree, it just went up as I was running along. Or, no, sorry, that was endurance. The amount of stamina and the rate of its exhaustion when running and jumping, as well as holding and restoring breath. Having more of these skill things unlocked is going to get you small perk increases. So this increases my stamina by 4%, decreases, typo there, decreases jump stamina by -2%, increases breath holding, etc. These things I'm not 100% sure of, and I'm pretty confident that they're still in development. So this means that by the time that you're watching this video, in a couple months, maybe a year time, this can have all changed. Then we have a map. The only map that I currently have is for a map called Factory. The other ones I do not have yet. And then tasks. You can get these from vendors. These are basically quests. Talking of vendors, let's have a look at the trading menu. Again, this can look radically different by the time that you're watching it. Currently, in this closed beta, there are 4 dealers. Sorry, 5. We have Pavel, we have Elvira, we have a real name unknown, Alexander, and Thaddeus. Each of these have their own section of items that they sell. This guy, Pavel, for example, warrant officer in charge of supply warehouses on the sustaining base for the internal troops enforcing the Norvinsk region blockade. He works with Bear PMC, which is basically the Russian PMC. The other guy you see down here, Thaddeus, he works for the UN peacekeeping force, so he's their supplier. So you're going to find more NATO weapons under Thaddeus and more Russian weapons under Pavel. Elvira is your medical, so she's going to sell you doctor supplies. Stuff like this. We have over here Fence. That's pretty much all that we know him by. And he's selling a lot of different items. You can see we have a backpack for sale here. We have a duffel bag, another tactical gear. All sorts of rounds popping up here and there. Screwdriver. And sometimes you're going to come across an unknown item. And this is also something that you're going to see in a moment when I'm going into a raid. An unknown item is something that I simply haven't identified yet. What you can do then is right click and examine. And by doing that you find out what it is. This is a flash hider. A Noveski KX3 5.56 by 45 flash hider. Let's inspect that. Now the fonts, as far as I'm concerned, would be nice to be a little bigger, but maybe I can still adjust that in the menus. But all of these items have impact on your weapon. This one, for example, raises muzzle velocity, but decreases recoil. Base accuracy goes up, ergonomics goes down a little bit. And you can buy these things from a vendor for their local currency. So some of them will accept ruble, some of them will accept dollars. And as you can see, there are still some items that I have not yet identified. Here's another MP5 magazine that I can buy. And again, quite a few things that I simply don't know about yet. Let's examine this one. 12,000 rubles. Soft armor. So this is another set of body armor. Now one thing I haven't even touched on is weapon maintenance, where you have to keep your weapons in proper condition. You have to repair them if you're using them a lot and you're not losing them. Or you might find yourself with jams, with overheats if you're firing too many rounds. All of these things are modeled in the game, and all of these things can and will impact your performance. Anyway, I think I have done enough talking for now, at least about a quick guide through the most important elements of this game. Let's go into a mission. I'm going to bring an MP5, I'm going to bring a tactical rig, an MP5 mag. My gamma container always comes with me. I do not have body armor at the moment, so I cannot bring any of that. I will bring a splint and a bandage, so that I can fix myself up in case I get hurt, which tends to happen on these missions. And as you can see, I'm keeping these in my gamma container, so that they are not going to get lost. Because if I go down, and there is about 100% chance of that happening at the moment, if I go down, then these weapons or these items will get lost if they're not insured. Let's talk about insurance for a while. PMC, that's what I'm picking. There you can see me with the MP5. I'm going to go into Woods, which is the map that for now I'm most familiar with. But there are quite a few other maps that I have either not unlocked yet, that might not be in the beta. For example, this one's not available. Doesn't mean it's not in the beta, but probably, yeah, it's still locked. Let's go into Woods. Now, you can pick your own time of battle. I can say I want to go during the daytime, 10:40, or during nighttime, 22:40. Do not go into nighttime if you do not have any night vision gear. You're going to find yourself very, very much at a disadvantage against players who are using gear like that. So let's go during the daytime. Now, if you want to, then you can go in an offline mode. And if you are going offline, you can say, I want to enable PvE. An offline mode generally just makes it so that, of course, there are no other players, and PvE adds the enemy Scavs. We're not going to go into offline mode. Now, here's the insurance part. This is a guy called Prapor who's doing this. Select weapons, gear and items in your raid inventory kit and tag them to ensure them and, this is the important bit, have a chance to get them back if they were not looted and extracted by others after your death. That is critical. That's why it's bold. This insurance does not mean that if you die, you automatically get your gear back. If that's what you're thinking, then you're gonna be coming home in a body bag, by the way, very unhappy, because it simply does not work like that. If somebody else manages to loot your body after you're dead, well, then your gear is just gone. There are no exceptions. If for some reason you died and your body was not looted, then there is a chance, not a guarantee, it's insurance, it's a chance, not a guarantee, that you're going to get your stuff back. Insurance conditions depend on the specific merchant, your standing, and insurance history. If I want to insure my MP5, I can say, well, it's going to cost me 5,000. That is actually not a very good insurance trade, as far as I've seen. Because the chances of me losing it are very high, the chances of it staying lost are very high, even with insurance, and the chance of me being able to buy another MP5 cheaper is way better. I could buy them much cheaper than the 5,000 or 5,170 that you see here. So that's not what I'm doing. I'm not going to insure anything. Moving on. You can, and this is a very important part, play this game with a squad, with a group, as it's called in this game. And that is what I would love to do with you guys. I need a squad. That's as simple as it is. I need more players on my side to make these raids more effective. You can work together, you can flank, you can keep each other secure as you're looting bodies. You need each other. And right now, oh, here we go. I'm gonna go solo for this one. Right now, I don't have any of these buddies over here, so if you are playing the game already, do join me. The details of the TS are down below in the description. And if you think that this game is interesting, and you want to get along and form a group together, then let's do so, because we can help each other. Anyway, let's move up. Ready. I'm going into the woods. Everything and everyone that I see can be considered hostile. There are no friendlies, unless you're bringing your own group members. Everybody can be shot. And generally, everybody will return fire at you as much as you're firing at them. And of course, you have the opportunity, if you're not detected yet, to just ignore the others, because I'm not likely to win. That works, but keep in mind that if you get detected later on, then you might still lose the firefight. Whereas if you got the drop on them, well, that was your opportunity to win. So it's a lot of decision making, it's a lot of tactical movements. That is where this thing dramatically differs from PUBG. It's not a spray and pray. It is not a rapid looting game. You need to be clever about your maneuvering. Now, initially, I'm going to go pretty careful here, and just to be sure, there is a very high chance that this video ends in about 5 minutes, because I died. Simple as that. Now, let's see if there's anybody nearby. As you can see, I do not really have a scope, I just have iron sights on this weapon. Scopes are probably something that I have not unlocked yet, although I did get the hollow sights on the MPX. You can buy those, but I don't have an actual longer range scope yet. Yeah, I have played this map a few times, so I do sort of know where stuff is. That's not something I'm going to go into this video in particular, because there are other videos that do that way, way better. Just look for a map or an instructional video on the map called Woods. That's what I'm playing right now. Which, well, it's pretty obvious where it gets its name, isn't it? Something else you might have noticed is that there is no HUD. There is no heads-up display. You can hear fire in the distance. There's no heads-up display telling you your health, telling you how much ammo you have left, telling you where to go. All of this is something that you have to figure out, and this is where the Arma 3 sim elements come in. So you have to think for yourself. You have to do a lot of this stuff and be very, very careful in your movements. That's why I'm not sprinting through these woods, but trying to go tree to tree. Peeking around Q and E, that still works. Seeing if there's anyone nearby. And we know that there is somebody nearby, or at least two of them, because we heard one of them fire. This might mean that he won. It might also mean that he lost. At any rate, there is an active shooter nearby. And that's something that I have to be quite careful with. Now, looting in this game. It works slightly different from what you're used to. In the sense that, let's say you killed a character, which I hope that I'm able to show you in this video. There's a tank there, by the way. T-72, I think. T-80, maybe. If you have killed a character and you're looting their body, then you're vulnerable. I can still hear gunfire. Because you can hear that these guys are using single shot, by the way. Burst fire, single shot. There we go. Press B for fire mode selection. Anyway, looting. It's not like you shoot somebody and you can immediately see what they are carrying in their inventory. If only. No, you have to search them. You have to go through their pockets, through their backpack, through their tactical rig, and see what they're carrying. And that takes time. Time that leaves you vulnerable. So you have to be really bloody careful. And that's exactly why a group comes in handy. If you have a team member or a buddy securing you while you are looting, you can split out the loot later. Whereas if you're looting alone, then you're vulnerable. Because you simply do not have eyes in the back of your head, or at least my character doesn't. Meaning that if you are looting, you're not looking at potential threats. And something that happened to me repeatedly is that I was looting because I killed a Scav, so an AI character, or potentially a player, you can never be sure. And what happened is that another Scav got drawn into the gunfire. He heard my shots and he thought, hey, something's going on there, let's have a look. And then as I was happily looting the body, or the corpse, he killed me. End of mission. Done. Gear lost. Try again. Now there's a bit of a structure here. I know that there's a loot crate over there. I'm making best speed in order to get there. It's a bit of a run across a field, which I generally don't like very much. Because I'm extremely exposed here. Okay, get down. Right. Let's go and search this container. Now you can see it is unsearched. I am searching the container right now. What we have here is one Saiga mag. It's even empty. This place was probably already raided. Let's crouch underneath here. Let's have a look. A USB adapter. Stuff like this, by the way, do not discard it, because traders will pay money for it. Let's have a look at what that is. Walkie-talkie or something? A what's a gas analyzer? Okay, you're coming with me. And then I'm gonna bring the AA battery. And the pineapple juice is not too important. However, I am running a little bit lower on my hydration, as you can see. 88 out of 100. Energy is a little lower, but I can use this, so I can drink a little bit using Russian Army pineapple. And now my energy's pretty much repleted, and my hydration has gone up a little bit. Right. Now I'm not immediately taking fire, which is a good sign. By the way, I'm not going to say completely terrible, but pretty terrible at FPS. And Arma, for that matter, but I hope I will not immediately get wiped out. And again, this this is where a squad can come in incredibly useful. Now, I have the advantage on this map of sort of knowing where I'm going. I have played this map for... Oh! He's dead. So somebody passed through here. Or might still be here. I have the advantage of knowing where I'm going. If you're starting out with this game, prepare for a learning curve. Prepare to have to figure out what is where. And if you do not know that, then you're basically operating blind. Alright, let's search this guy, see what he's carrying. He has a couple of mags. I'm gonna take those with me. Search his pockets. He's not carrying a backpack. Yeah, this guy already got looted by somebody else. Now there's a sawmill up in the distance. That's where I want to go next. Roads are a good way to get ambushed though. Let's see. From the get-go, I don't see anybody moving down there. Which can be a good sign, because there's sometimes... Hang on, there's somebody there. You see him? Right underneath my crosshairs. Now that is way outside the range of the MP5. At least the effective range. So, let's... Yeah, okay, my profile should already be broken up by the tree. Hopefully. Now we saw him pretty much go down that hill. Not sure where he's going. Hang on, there's somebody else moving down there. There. 1, 2. I think they're engaging the sawmill. The way that they're moving, they could be players or AI. Could go either way. They're definitely in a firefight. And I am completely undergunned. And I'm not interested in joining that firefight at all. My chances of survival there are really, really low. Now, it's not like I'm... Shit. Carrying a whole lot of expensive gear. Ah, there we go. Re-sway killed you. I got a bit of XP, but that's it. I died. Inside of 10 minutes. Attention, all items brought by you into the raid or found in it have been lost. So say goodbye to the MP5 because it's gone. Now, this section is bugged because I did not carry, or I did not travel 1,258 kilometers. I did not find 548 ammo. So do not take this menu too seriously because it's it does not work very well at the moment. Now, I got a bit of XP from that, from looting some stuff, but other than that, I did pretty terribly. So, I need a squad. I need you guys. And that is, in a nutshell, the whole premise of Escape from Tarkov. Again, very important, this is not a very, very fast action game. This is something that takes time. This is something that is going to take training. It's not something like an action game like PUBG where you very quickly jump in and very quickly jump out. Well, you can quickly jump out if another player helps you jump out by killing you off, but that's a whole different story. So, if this is something that looks like it's going to be interesting to you, have a look at the link in the description and learn a bit more about the game. If you like it, and if you're already playing it, be sure to join me on my TeamSpeak, because I would love to play a few rounds with you guys in the form of a group, just in order to make this looting thing a lot easier. For now, thank you for watching. I hope you found this video interesting, and let me know what your thoughts are on this game down below in the comments, and I hope to see you soon.